Hey there, folks. USFL Jim here, finally back with another USFL recap after X-naying on YouTube for a week. It's a whole deal. I'm going to go there. We're just going to recap some games of Week 8 of USFL action, and what a sexy week it was. We had some playoff locks. We had some playoff not locks, whatever the opposite of a lock is. Week 9 is ahead of us. That's for the future. We're talking about the past. All I do is focus on the past here in this show. And that's what I'm about to do. Game number 1. We had the Maulers versus the Generals, with the Generals winning 29-18. All this proved to me is that the Generals can win the whole thing with Luis Perez. He's good enough to do it. He's consistent. He's accurate. This team has a great offensive line. They have a great run game. And Cavante Turpin, when he's on the field and healthy, is probably the most athletic and dangerous weapon on the field at any given time. What this also told me is the Maulers are just straight up bad. They are chicken shit. They are not good, and Kevin Wilson's like the worst coach I've seen in one of these leagues. He's so fucking bad that I really don't know what more to say. These Maulers have good players. They just don't have a good game plan. They don't have a good system around them, and it's ruining what could be a really good team. Kirby Wilson continues to boggle my mind on just how bad he can be week in and week out. Like we think 1 week that's as bad as he's gonna get. That's as bad as it's gonna get, and then all of a sudden it's just who's ringing that goddamn bell? Shut the fuck up! I got it right here. Anyway, where was I? Yes, Mike Riley, probably the coach of the league. He's looking fantastic out there. Only lost to the Stallions, on their way to the playoffs, marching along, and I expect soon they'll be getting DeAndre Johnson back. And with Johnson back, this team is going to be extremely, extremely dangerous. The Generals are looking real. The Generals are looking really good. And I think they're the cream of the crop in the North. Maybe, but not, because we got another team from the North who just balled all out of control, and I will get to that game later. But main takeaways: Generals, amazing, locked in for the playoffs. They already were locked in, and they still came out and dominated like this. They're good. The Generals, fantastic. Luis Perez, good enough to get them to the championship. I don't know if he's good enough to win it, but he's good enough to get them there at the very least, in my opinion. The Maulers, just terrible, bad, awful. Kirby Wilson proves every week why he's the worst coach in this league. Game number 2, we had the Breakers versus the Stallions, with the Stallions pulling it out again, winning 10-9. No matter what happens, the Stallions will win in Birmingham. It's just physically impossible. They're going to go undefeated, and the Breakers were the best shot. The Breakers were a good team. They're still in a good spot. They got injuries. The Stallions just have some magic horsecock energy going on here that they're just not going to lose. It's just not going to happen. And I don't know. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. J.M.R. Smith is that dude. It sucks that Mr. Magoo came back in and immediately gets hurt on what was a really good play for him. But J.M.R. is that guy. They're not, when this magic dissipates and they go up to Canton, it's gone. They're not winning. They're not going to make the playoff. They're not going to make the championship game. The Breakers, you're still feeling pretty good. You needed this win if you wanted to secure your playoff spot. I still like the Breakers over the Bandits. The Bandits are my benchmark team, but I'll get to them later. I think the Breakers are still in a decent spot. They just need to make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, I'd like them in a three-peat to get one over the Stallions. Like, Kyle Sloter's a dude. He's impressive all throughout the season. They have great receivers, a good offensive line, a good defense. They're just banged up. This was a fun game, good low-scoring game, and not too much to take away from it other than the Stallions have something magical going on. In game number 3, we had the Panthers versus the Stars, with the Stars winning 46-24. And in honor of one Case Cookus, I'm actually going to bring in Chef Jim to break down this game. Thank you, USFL Jim. Chef Jim here to break down the Panthers versus the Stars. And where better to start than my man Case Cookus, the chef of the offense for the Stars. He had the game of his life against the Panthers. The Panthers couldn't stop nothing. He was running, he was throwing bombs, he was accurate, he did it all. Case Cookus is my player of the week. He's my Chef Jim kitchen cook-em-up player of the week. He was electrifying. This Panthers offense just couldn't get anything done. I'm not going to blame Paxton Lynch too much because he just hasn't played very much at all this year. So maybe if he had more time with the offense, they would have been better. But the big surprising thing was this defense, which just proves to me that the Stars offense is good enough to score on anybody. And as long as that Stars defense can make anything happen, make some big plays like they did in this game, they can beat anybody. The Stars are heating up at the exact right moment. Bart Andrus is going to put someone in a lake. He's going to make someone sleep with the fishes. This team is scary. I would not want to go up against the Stars from the New Jersey Generals. I'm scared. They're on fucking fire. That being said, any given week, that defense could just do nothing, and the offense just might sputter a little bit and cause them to lose a game. Like, I could just as likely see them losing next week to a team like the Gamblers or the Maulers. It just happens. This Stars team is weird. It's wild. It's wild. And it's so fun to watch. Jeff Fisher is just lucky that Kirby Wilson's in here. Otherwise, he'd be the worst coach in this league. I'm calling it right now. Panthers, embarrassing. Embarrassing season for the Panthers. Kicked out of the playoffs. Stars locked in. So we have our first playoff setup locked in. It's the Generals versus the Stars, and I, for one, am so excited for USFL playoffs. Oh, baby. Love it. Big takeaway from this game. Stars. Oh, my God. Case Cook is player of the week, player of the game. My man. Love him. He cooked. Case Cook is cooked. Panthers, Jeff Fisher, out. Bad. Maybe bring him back for a year or two, but do something. Just do something, Panthers. Anyway, back to USFL Jim. Thank you, Chef Jim, for that regaling tale. To our last game, we go to the Gamblers versus the Bandits, with the Bandits winning 13-3. This was the worst game of the week. This was sloppy football on both parts. The Gamblers' offense is just atrocious to watch at points. They had Kenji Bahar in there, and they mentioned it on the broadcast, and I'm standing behind that. Run more triple option. Run more read options. Do something with that kid's legs. Kevin Sumlin, you've had dynamic quarterbacks in the past. You should know what to do with them. And he seems lost. I don't know what it is about Sumlin, but this offense was just bleh, bleh. And the Bandits, if they don't get these turnovers, they might not win this game either. It's just, neither team was good, but the Bandits beat bad teams. They're the kingmaker team, where if you beat the Bandits, you're a good team. If you lose to them, you're bad. They're that middle benchmark team, and they're not going anywhere in that regard. Jordan Ta'amu aside, he looked fine for the most part. They just don't have a run game, and I don't know what they're doing about it. I don't trust them next week against the Breakers. This Bandits team scares me. They're just an all-right middle-of-the-pack team. They're the definition of middle of the road. The Gamblers lose their streak of first-half wins, and that was really the only thing they had going for them. So after this, Kevin Sumlin, I'm ready to say bye. Main takeaways from this game: Bandits, bleh, Gamblers, bleh. So anyway, let's wrap it up with my USFL Jim Power Rankings. Down at number 8, we're going to put the Maulers. They're not good. They're really, really bad. Worst coach, worst everything. Blah, blah, blah. Number 7, we're going to slide in the Gamblers. That offense, puke-worthy, atrocious, just terrible. Hate seeing that. Number 6, we're sliding in the Panthers. So these are my bottom 3 teams, flat out, just really, really bad. Don't really have any redeeming qualities. Maybe the Panthers defense every once in a while, but that's just about it. They got good players, but something about these teams is just really bad. Number 5, it's going to be the Bandits. They're that benchmark team. The teams that are above them are good. Teams that are below them are bad, which makes sense. Those 4 teams I suspect to be in the playoffs, starting with, after this week, I feel like I have to slot them here. It's the Breakers, this is the lowest I've ever had the Breakers, and I feel like this is more to do with the fact that they played Birmingham, which is a weird magical team, but these teams are all really close. The Breakers just had an off week, and they've been playing off. They've had some turnover issues. I'm going to put them here at 4, and they shouldn't be happy with that. I'm not happy with it. The Breakers need to step it up. Up at number 3, I'm going to slide in the Stars. They just had the week of their lives, and they deserved that jump, that placement. They looked like they could beat any team. They were going to beat any team this week if they played them. It's what was happening. When that offense is on, they can score on anybody. That offense is going to get theirs no matter what. And that defense has been improving week and week and week and week and week. And it's It's going to continue. The Stars are heating up at the exact right moment. Number 2 team is the Generals. They took care of business. They're still at the top of the North, in my opinion. They're still looking good, and I think with Johnson coming back, they're just going to be that much better. And my number 1 team is the Birmingham Stallions, still undefeated. I don't know if they're the best team, but they're undefeated, so you got to have them up here. Anyway, those are my power rankings. That was Week 8 of the USFL. I'm USFL Jim. I love you guys. Only 2 weeks left of the regular season. It's winding down. But the playoffs are coming. Playoffs are coming, and I will be in Canton for the championship game. Calling it right here. I'm going to be in Canton. So meet up with me if you're going to be in Canton for the championship game. I'll be expounding more details as the date gets closer, but I will be in Canton, Ohio. So be prepared. Anyway, it's Week 8 of the USFL. Those are my power rankings. I'm USFL Jim. Thank you for watching. Tune in next week when I recap Week